challenges we face as guardians of the air transportation system in a fluid, technology-dependent era are many. But so are our assets, coupled with a clear and forward-thinking strategy. We are engaged as vested stakeholders and participants. We objectively communicate and value feedback. We are fluid and able to adapt quickly to adjust to changing demands. We ensure that teamwork and cooperation remains a priority for effecting change. We rely on data and metrics to measure progress and success. Together, we are safeguarding air transportation. Welcome to the 63rd ALPA Air Safety Forum.
Well, good evening and welcome to the ALPA Air Safety Forum Awards Banquet. A special thanks to the Communications Department for that wonderful video production. This night is always special because it provides us with an opportunity to recognize talented individuals for their contributions to making aviation safer and more secure. For the last 4 days, pilot representatives in government and industry subject matter experts have spoken at length about the actions we're taking to not only advance airline safety and security, but also to anticipate and defend against new and potentially unseen threats as we move forward. We know from experience that the best way to address all of these concerns is collaboratively and inclusively. Only by working together can we fully benefit from the resources, specialized expertise, and unique perspective that each of our organizations has to offer. That's one of the benefits of bringing everyone together for this annual event. I'm proud to say that this is the 63rd running of the forum. As the world's largest non-governmental aviation safety organization, our association and its members have a vested interest in North American aviation and its ability to evolve and grow. Seated in the cockpit, ALPA pilots work at the very heart of the airline industry. This perspective provides us with a unique opportunity to make crucial observations and to purpose operationally minded solutions, which are essential to safeguarding air transportation. As we all know, there are many safety and security programs and initiatives that work throughout the United States and Canada. Let's take a moment to consider the incredible influence that one of these approaches, the use of voluntary safety reporting systems, has had on the national airspace system. ALPA, the FAA, and participating airlines work together to establish these innovative networks to address safety problems and identify potential risks, issues that could easily have gone unnoticed, undetected, until a catastrophic incident or accident happened and brought it to everyone's attention, including the public. The Aviation Safety Action Program, ASAP, or FSAP for the United pilots in the room, is a prime example. This voluntary reporting program only works if the professional men and women who fly the line and observe and identify system abnormalities. Without their feedback, ASAP would simply have no legs. We wouldn't be able to uncover otherwise undetected trends or take the necessary corrective action. Most importantly, the data fueled by this cooperative effort has enormously improved operational efficiencies and saved airlines both lives and money. And thanks to ASAP and the other voluntary reporting programs like FOQA, ASIAS, passengers can board their aircraft and companies can ship their cargo confident in the knowledge that they're using the safest mode of transportation. So let's take a second and look at the tremendous progress that's been made. In 1960, at what was essentially the onset of the jet age, there were 17 fatal airline accidents occurred in the United States, resulted in 499 zero-passenger fatalities. That was in a single year in 1960. This data is according to the Department of Transportation. Since that time, the amount of flights, passengers, and cargo transported over the U.S. skies has multiplied astronomically. The FAA reports that on average there are more than 2.2 million passengers and nearly 24,000 commercial flights a day. And in the past 7 years, that's right, 7 years, I'm proud to say, just like Administrator Huerta said, I'm proud to say there have now been no fatal passenger accidents on Part 121 U.S. aircraft. This is an accomplishment that we can all take credit for, yes. But rather than hear someone from the aviation industry talk about our success, let me share with you what the media is saying, and this is a quote from Forbes magazine about the performance of the airline industry. It's from the December 2016 article titled, "In a Dangerous World, U.S. Commercial Aviation is on a Remarkable Safety Streak." Quote, "American commercial aviation is, by huge margins, in terms of fatality rates per billion passengers traveled, the safest way to travel. This is the case in a world troubled by the threat of terrorism, in which commercial airline flights are still considered prime targets of evil people seeking to make a big global splash in support of their unholy cause is rather remarkable, even though most of us never remark or even think about it." End quote. The traveling public, shipping public may take this for granted, but I know those of us in this room, we do not, and we never will. The magazine highlighted the tremendous efforts of law enforcement and security agencies to protect our skies and airports. That's quite an accolade and a clear sign that our collective, collaborative efforts have not only paid off, but they're getting attention. I want to thank everyone in this room for their part that you play and that all you do to contribute to this remarkable record. Tonight we come together to share a light on several ALPA members who, through their remarkable actions in the cockpit or work to advance safety and security, promote the highest standards for our industry and make this kind of performance a reality. Former FAA Administrator David Hinson once described ALPA as the conscience of the airline industry. I believe the association's numerous safety and security achievements, including 3 Collier trophies, are a testament to that statement. On the runways, in the skies, and often behind the scenes, it's ALPA pilots safeguarding air transportation who make it possible for people and air freight to reach their destinations safely, routinely, without incident. Tonight we have with us a number of ALPA Aviation Safety and Aviation Security Award honorees. People who have contributed tangibly to the progress and evolution of our industry. These individuals set the standard of professionalism for giving their airlines, their profession, and the traveling public through their hard work and insight. Please join me in thanking them as I ask them to stand and be recognized, as I call each by name and identify the year in which the award was given. I think we need the house lights up just a little bit, please, so everyone can see these incredibly talented individuals, as I call them. So they're working on that. There we go. Thank you. These are former Pilot Assistance Award winners with us tonight. First Officer Thomas Thornton, 2014. Captain John Rosenberg, 2016. Former Security Award winners, Captain Ron Silberman, 2006. Captain Everett Reese, 2011. Captain Wolfgang Hock, 2012. Captain Rich Obert, 2015. And now for former Air Safety Award winners. Captain Bill Melvin, 1977. Captain Jack Howell, 1983. Captain David Haas, 1988. Captain Dick Russell, 1989. Captain Richard Duxbury, 1995. Captain Lindsay Fenwick, 2005. Captain Terry McVenis, 2007. Captain David Wells, 2008. Captain Ray Genola, 2009. Captain Bill DeGrow, 2011. First Officer Mark Rogers, 2012. Captain Michael Bender, 2013. Captain Helen Cunningham, 2014. And First Officer John Klinger, 2015. The towering achievements of these pilots remind us, no matter the challenges that lie ahead, ALPA safety, security, and pilot assistance representatives have what it takes to tackle and succeed. We have many honored guests with us tonight, and time will not permit me to introduce everyone, but I would like to identify several distinguished individuals who are seated at our head table. If you would please join me in welcoming President of Airbus Americas, Mr. Barry Ecclestone. Barry, welcome. Second time for this guy, Director of Operational Regulatory Affairs for Boeing, Captain Terry McVenis. Director General, Aviation Safety Oversight and Transformation for Transport Canada, Captain Denis Guidon. Vice President, Safety and Quality, NAV Canada, Larry Lachoun. President, Japan ALPA, Captain Hikori Tatiko. I came close. Hiroki. I butchered it, Hiroki. I butchered it. I'm sorry. I apologize. I practiced, too. It's so frustrating. And President, Australian ALPA, Captain Murray Butt. Thank you, Murray. And a member of the Transport Appeal Tribunal of Canada, Mr. Charles Sullivan. Charles, thanks again. The General Manager of the Airline Pilots Association, Lori Garver. And Manager, Space Experience Center, Lockheed Martin, Mr. David Brandt. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate the work you do and look forward to our continuing partnership and collaboration with your organizations. The ALPA and our Air Safety Organization couldn't accomplish all that we do without the work of the association's professional staff. Employees from all of ALPA's departments offer their judgment and acumen to help advance our cause. They work closely with our pilot representatives and many of our industry and government partners, and they are a powerful asset to this organization. Please join me in thanking the ALPA staff for its remarkable work, especially in helping put together the events of this week. Thank you to all of you. Joe and we're sick of saying it, but we keep saying over and over again, it just doesn't happen, folks. Someone has to do it, and they're the ones that make it happen. I would also like to recognize all the spouses, significant others, and other family members, some who have traveled some great distances to be here tonight, whose support enables ALPA pilot representatives to continue this important work on our behalf. You are all vital members of the ALPA team, and we appreciate, from the bottom of our hearts, your sharing this special celebration with us tonight. Finally, on a sobering note, we must acknowledge those who have paved the way for our progress but are no longer with us. Please join me in a moment of silence for our fellow ALPA members and others in our industry who have flown west since our last forum. Thank you. I'd now like to take a moment to recognize the career and accomplishments of one exceptional individual who, for more than 50 years, dedicated his wisdom and talents in a special way to advancing the airline piloting profession. To help with this recognition, I'd like to ask Lori Garver, ALPA's general manager, to please take the podium and say a few words about one of our own, Captain Don McClure. Lori?
Thank you, Tim. This is a hard one. As many of you know, Don McClure recently passed away after a long battle with cancer. Don joined ALPA as a probationary member in 1964 when he went to work as a pilot for Eastern Airlines. After flying on a number of different aircraft, he became a captain on the 727. Anxious to serve his fellow pilots, he became Eastern's MEC's chief accident investigator and served as chairman of ALPA's Accident Investigation Board for a number of years. He participated in a lot of important investigations, including the accident of Eastern Flight 401, a Lockheed L-1011, which crashed in the Florida Everglades in 1972. During his flying tenure, he also assisted Eastern as well as Grieff and American in establishing special training programs and route qualifications for airline pilots in South America. After 27 years flying the line, Don found his true calling on the staff of the Engineering and Air Safety Office in ALPA. He joined our staff in 1992. He worked on projects such as the U.S. Airways MEC's creation of their ASAP and FOQA projects, their voluntary safety reporting programs that Tim noted in his remarks a few minutes ago. As Tim said, Don's work in ALPA spanned 52 years. It's an extraordinary amount of time and dedication for us. Although I only got to know him these last 4 years, his wonderful humor, he would stop by my office quite often. He loved to talk about NASA and the astronauts, and I learned a lot about safety programs through him. He had that credibility. He was a consummate professional, such great integrity, and he truly was an ALPA asset and is already sorely missed. We are privileged tonight to have his family here, so I'd like to ask them to come up. Donna, Don's wife, Steve, Don's son, and Terry, Steve's wife, if you could join me on the stage to accept a plaque on his behalf in recognition of more than half a century of service that he provided to aviation, his airline, the airline pilot profession, and the thousands of passengers he safely transported. The plaque reads, 52 years, a long time. With special appreciation to Captain Donald Don McClure for your steadfast and significant contributions to aviation safety in a career spanning more than 50 years.
You know, the great thing was about Don, you saw the picture with all the piles of paper. He actually knew where everything was. He could find what he was working at in that paper. Thank you, Lori, and thank you to the family for being here tonight. As we recognize tonight's award honorees, I want to acknowledge the efforts of all ALPA's more than 57,000 members. Every day they fly the line, safeguarding air transportation along with the system operators who commit themselves to ensuring North America remains the global aviation safety and security benchmark. Tonight, we pay tribute to 2 Virgin America pilots for their demonstrated superior airmanship in safely addressing a significant systems malfunction. We also honor 2 members of ALPA's Air Safety Organization for their extraordinary accomplishments. The pilots selected for these awards, as well as those who were recognized earlier this week, uphold ALPA's proud tradition of leadership, volunteerism, and service to others. Thank you for joining us tonight as we salute them. Now I would Virgin American MEC Vice Chairman Captain Keith Lewis please join me on stage to assist in tonight's Superior Airmanship Award presentation. Please give your undivided attention to Captain Lewis as he describes the heroic actions of the crew of Virgin America Flight 762.
Good evening. Shortly after 7 o'clock on the morning of October 27, 2016, the flight crew of Virgin America Flight 762 departed Dallas Love Field for New York's LaGuardia Airport on what would typically be a 3-hour flight. While climbing into cloudy skies at an altitude of 7,000 feet, the aircraft started a left turn when it was unexpectedly jolted by a large thud, followed by several erratic, independent rudder movements. Captain Ristaino quickly disengaged the autopilot and leveled off at 8,000 feet to assess the situation, only to discover that the rudder, which is primarily responsible for controlling the plane's left and right direction in the air, was deflected entirely to the left. He asked his co-pilot to verify the problem and quickly learned the rudder controls had malfunctioned. After evaluating options, the crew promptly radioed air traffic control and declared an emergency. Let's listen to the audio from that day's air traffic control tapes. They are using the call sign for their flight, Redwood 762. Please note, these are the audio clips that we are about to hear are not from the cockpit voice recorder.
Yes, sir. They got the long runways, and with the flight control problem, we need the long runways.
All right, Redwood 762, Roger, maintain 4,000.
4,000. Say our runway for Dallas Fort Worth, and if we can get that just going towards there now, please.
Redwood 762, expect runway 17 center.
17 center, Redwood 762.
Captain Ristaino then disconnected the auto thrust system in order to gain better control using differential thrust, a technique where the thrust of the 2 jet engines are varied, resulting in a crude but effective control to counteract the rudder deflections. At the same time, First Officer Grieff coordinated with the air traffic controllers to ensure that the emergency equipment was prepared in advance at DFW. After briefing the lead flight attendant, Captain Ristaino announced to the passengers that there was an unforeseen maintenance issue had arisen that would unfortunately require a diversion. His choice of words and professional delivery were directly responsible for keeping those on board calm and allowed passengers to prepare for the landing without unnecessary concern. During the aircraft's descent, the pilots experienced several more erratic rudder inputs. Some 10 minutes after takeoff, the flight crew safely landed the overweight airliner with its 92 passengers aboard on DFW's runway 17 center. Once safely on the ground, the pilots maintained amazing composure. Once more, let's listen to the ATC recordings as they safely taxied the aircraft to clear the runway for other traffic.
Runway 762, be advised, runway will close behind you upon touchdown.
You will be taxiing off the runway onto a taxiway.
Runway 762, right.
Rudder issue is not an issue on the ground here, so we can steer fine.
Okay, you can taxi south on taxiway Mike, hold short of taxiway Bravo, and we'll find out where we can put you at.
Okay, south on Mike, short of Bravo, railway 762.
A later inspection revealed an extremely unlikely occurrence. One of the plane's 3 rudder trim actuators had failed in an extended position, and the other 2 were countering against the failed unit, creating an unusual dynamic. Because of the flight crew's quick thinking, expedient identification of the problem, and resourceful efforts in formulating a response, they, in the words of maintenance personnel, greatly reduced the chances of further complications. And all while maintaining true professionalism and keeping air traffic control, flight attendants, and passengers adequately informed about the event. Their actions were short of exemplary. Excuse me. This is an excellent reminder of why the best and most important safety features on any airliner is 2 experienced, well-trained, and highly motivated professional pilots.
May I please ask Captain Tony Ristaino and First Officer John Grieff to join us here on stage. I met these gentlemen yesterday for the first time, and the first thing I told them is, my wife is deathly afraid of flying, but she'll get on their airplane anytime. I am honored to present Captain Tony Ristaino and First Officer John Grieff with ALPA's Superior Airmanship Award. Congratulations to both gentlemen. So Tony's going to say a few things. So Tony, podium's yours, sir.
Thank you.
I'll hold that for you.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Captain Knoll, Captain Lewis, and everyone here at the Airline Pilots Association. It is an honor and privilege to accept this prestigious award. We want to recognize our Virgin America MEC, Central Air Safety Committee, and the Associated Union volunteers, as they were outstanding in their technical guidance in ensuring the well-being of my crew during and after the event. We are grateful for their dedication, and we are honored for this nomination. We also want to thank the engineering and safety personnel at the ALPA Accident and Incident Hotline. Their expertise and guidance was invaluable to us that day. To my flight crew, our flight attendants Pamela Keck, Diana Torres, and Rachel Jacobsma. Their competence during that flight was exemplary to their profession. Last, but certainly not least, my first officer, John Grieff. John, when looking at your schedule, you saw that you had to fly a 4-day trip with me. Thank you for not calling in sick. Your true professionalism, along with our tremendous teamwork and outstanding communication, created a positive outcome. The unexpected events that bring us to this award are not ones that we can predict or in most cases even train for, but ones that as professionals we can endure with successful outcomes due to our dedication, our experience, our responsibility, and most of all, our promise to the safety, security, and well-being of our passengers and our crews. John and I proudly accept this award not only for ourselves, but for all pilots that have and will have to demonstrate their exceptional ability and flying skills in the face of adversity. With the support of our own local MECs and Central Air Safety Committees, in conjunction with ALPA National's long history of dedicating themselves to the pursuit of aviation safety, let us continue to keep our skies here in the United States and around the world safe. Thank you. At this time, John and I would like to invite our wives, my wife, Michaela, and John's wife, Kristen, to the stage. John and I are extremely lucky and very grateful for the love and support that they give towards the dedication we have to our career.
Tony. For your wife. Step up. Is that okay? My director. You look great. Yeah, okay. Great job. Great job. Would ALPA's Aviation Security Chair, Captain Wolfgang Cox, please join me on stage to assist in tonight's Aviation Security Award presentation. What are you doing? He didn't do anything. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's one of my favorites. I'm kidding. It is now my privilege to present the ALPA Aviation Security Award for 2016. Tonight, I'm honored to present this prestigious prize to FedEx Express First Officer Preston Greene. We have First Officer Greene to thank for his valued guidance and extensive work promoting aviation security, particularly in the realm of air cargo. He's been the Vice Chairman of ALPA's President's Committee for Cargo since May of 2013 and also chaired the FedEx Express MEC Security Committee from August 2012 to January of 2016. First Officer Greene is the association's subject matter expert on Aviation Security Advisory Committee, offering extensive knowledge in the area of cargo security. He's worked diligently with the Transportation Security Administration to promote risk-based screening methods and flight deck protective measures. He's also been a dedicated proponent for exploring emerging issues, such as an insider threat and threatened airspace management. First Officer Greene is a recipient of the Federal Flight Deck Officer Bronze Service Award, and if that isn't impressive enough, he's also a former Navy SEAL. Don't mess with him. First Officer Greene, would you please join me here on stage? First Officer Greene, it gives me great pleasure to present you with the 2016 ALPA Aviation Security Award. Congratulations and well done.
Thank you, Captain Canal, and for this humbling opportunity. And it is such an honor to have received this award for you.
We switched it up.
Very good. Your fight for every pilot within ALPA is clear and measurable. But I must mention that you have done so much for the cargo industry, and I salute you for that, sir. And it's huge. The cargo pilot has never had the concentrated support that you have provided to our security and our safety issues. You are our vanguard. You're our cornerstone in the shining light for the guidance and the inspiration that you have provided with your leadership and inspiration. Thank you, sir. I also want to thank Captain Joe DePete. As a military metaphor, you care for your troops, always making sure that we have what is needed for the fight. I'm inspired by your energy and your motivation as you lead the charges of the issues that we have. More importantly, for those advocacies. Thank you for giving yourself to this noble cause. I want to thank the ALPA staff. I have always received kind and enthusiastic help from the entire staff, always. I was once advised that you may be the tip of the spear, but it's the controlling staff that helps push that. The ALPA staff knows the proud and the support that we need, and they value that cause. Thank you very much. I can't forget Captain Wolfgang Koch. When I first was selected as security chairman, I met with Wolfgang at the very first Air Safety Forum that I attended. He already had been here with years of experience, and he took the time to help me and mentor me, and that was very important. I had no clue or understanding of the organization or how it was run. But Wolf also took the time to explain things through the years and has helped me with the ideas that I brought forward. Thank you, Wolf. Thank you for your friendship and your professional guidance. As for the FedEx leadership, I got to say it too. Captain Chuck Dyer and Captain John Cardacci. You both listen and openly engage. You center our efforts and help us with direction and measured guidance. As a pilot group, we're better with your leadership, and I thank you for all that you've done for us. I also can't forget my good friend, Captain Rich Huey. Speedo, I have learned much from you. You have a calm, professional demeanor, As efficient in the water, you are the same on your daily actions. You have a rare ability to achieve input and calmly direct action, a gift that was really you were born with, and one that I see and respect every day. I am proud to be your wingman as the vice, but as an old professional in my profession, my fellow swim buddy. Thank you for asking me to be your vice and your vote of confidence for this award. Finally, I can't forget my wife of 36 years. Kimberly, you have stood by me through the years, both good and bad. In the early years when we had nothing but each other, you inspired me to excel. I would not have been here today without you believing in me. Every step we took, you made me a better man. My dad once told me, always marry a woman smarter than you. And if she should cook, if she's a good cook, that's an extra. But most of all, marry somebody who's loving and is a caring mother than you are. Kim, you are the epitome of my father's wise words. During those years when I was on the line, you were the family foundation. I would be called out in the dead of night, couldn't tell you where I was going, what I was going to do. You were always calm. You kept normalcy for the kids. You maintained our home. You watched the news and you interacted with the other wives. And you prayed for me to be able to come home safely, which in turn is the true testament of who you are. I would never have completed my education had it not been for you. You believed in me. Those long nights that I did night school, it was because of you. Dear, thank you for being my life partner and all that great adventure. I have to take a minute and mention the issues that got me started, and it was through Captain Scott Stratton and Fred Eisler, Captain Eisler. Both of those guys came to me multiple times and tried to get me to take the Security Council. And I just didn't want to take it. And they said, yeah, you really should do this. They felt that I had something to give based upon my experience. They thought I knew about security. And I'll have you know, I have then and now, security is not what a SEAL brings to the table. I do have a unique background and perspective, but it's not in security. Security is a developed, measured, implemented defense for an area you want to protect. As a SEAL, we never planted a flag, we never owned any property, but we always took the fight to the enemy. So I do have a different perspective than most. People would ask me, what is it that keeps you up at night? You always hear that. People say that, and you got to think about it. Every time I watch those airplanes disappear into the building in 9/11, I think about the horror those people felt as they were consumed by the fire. But more specifically, I thought about the horror of the pilot's experience when they were brutally attacked. For as a SEAL, I have seen the fear in the eyes of those that we took down. The feeling of hopelessness from being overpowered by our assault. One of the first things you're taught when you go through BUDS, Basic Underwater Demolition SEALs training, are these foundations. You pick the time, you pick the place, and when it comes time to fight, you fight with reckless abandon. Having the elements of surprise is paramount. That combined with the violence of action are almost impossible to overcome, and that's exactly what happened. So we take the fight directly to the enemy in their own backyard of a time we choose. And when we strike, we would strike them hard. In doing so, we would always try to give ourselves a reactionary gap, which for us was time and space, what was needed on the dynamic battlefield, which would allow us to build a counterattack as needed. An example might be employment of a sniper or counter-sniper team, employing outside security for a blocking force, or utilizing existing cover, natural barriers, which would, again, give us time and space. Not having an intrusion-resistant cockpit door robs our crews of this reactionary gap, which takes away the space and time to defend the flight deck, themselves, and the aircraft. Many tell me, you need to give up this cause. You're chasing a ghost. You're not going to be able to solve this problem. But I just can't do it because I believe in it so much. I would never forgive myself if there was yet another 9/11 type assault on a non-hard door flight deck, therefore eliminating the crew's vital reactionary gap needed to save that aircraft. I'll tell you a quick story. I was a boat crew leader during the Panama operation Just Cause. I can talk about this because it was declassified. TF Blue, Red, Green made up the main assault, with TF White as giving one of our missions. We provided that over to those. And one of the East Coast SEAL teams got the mission to keep the aircraft from taking off on Patia Airfield. The platoon officer was a new platoon leader and had no combat experience. At the last minute, the rules of engagements changed, and he was advised to not damage the aircraft, that it was the property of the Panamanian people, and the operation was their operation was to not damage the least amount that they could. So instead of remaining in the safe of cover, it was decided to set up a tactical perimeter on the open ramp and try to call out the guards that were protecting the aircraft. They gave up their element of surprise, and they also gave up their reactionary gap. The initial assault from the guards knocked down 2 SEALs on the L-shaped perimeter closest to the hangar, and the firefight was on. I was at Rodham Naval Barge with our 4 assault bolts waiting for our execution call authorization. Our assault was to take down Noriega's 2 yachts. Our job was like our brothers at Patia. It was to build a takeout and close off the escape routes that the man may have. Another thing you are taught early as a SEAL training, firefights that last more than a minute, something has gone badly wrong. We hacked our watches as we saw the tracers coming off of Patia, and the smoke bellowed. The tracers started fires, and those were covering smoke. After about 5 minutes of the firefight, we knew what had happened. We could hear from over the tactical net, they were calling for the AC-130 gunship. As a result, the firefight and the fire that was starting over because of the tracers, we couldn't see the AC-130 gunship. But we could sure hear whenever that big howitzer cranked off and whenever it hit the ground. You could see the flash and the explosion. I was told later that the AC-130 took out 2 APCs maneuvering outside the field. Then what we dreaded came over the net, call for a medevac. The call kept coming. Then we saw what was inevitable, the lost comm call. The medevac star cluster pop flare was given, but there still was no bird. It was deemed that it was the limited assault helicopters available and the dynamics of the order of battle that a medevac could not be released at the time. It was a horrible feeling sitting there watching such a thing, knowing that my fellow brothers were dying. 4 SEALs were killed that night. One was a fellow SEAL chief that I know very closely, and he died covering up one of his SEALs with his own body. A wise old SEAL once told me that once you put your foot on the battlefield, you are there and there's nobody else that's going to help you. And that's a true statement. I don't care what your battle plans are. Once you put that first foot on the ground, the only people that are there that's going to help you are those that are on the battlefield with you. That's it. The same goes for pilots. Regardless of the layers of security in play, to include those developed in lieu of hard doors, once that main door is closed and we take off, it's just us guys. That's it. We're the ones that's going to be having to fight the fight. I lost a friend because they gave up their element of surprise and their reactionary gap, and he paid the ultimate price. I will not stop my efforts to convince the government of this important point of having not a carve-out, but that all airplanes need hard doors. Same level of safety and security for all commercial aircraft, just what Captain Cano says. I got an email from my cousin today, William Greene. He's a retired Air Force colonel. Congratulations, cousin, but I must admit, my expectations are high both because of your background and your accomplishments. It is a hard subject that you are involved with where, unfortunately, politics carries much weight. The political bureaucracy will cause frustration, delays, but don't let up on what you know must be done. And let's all hope that no serious incident occurs before changes are made. Truly, Bill. We all have seen and heard of George Orwell's quotes. And I must say, most of you have probably heard what I'm about to say. We sleep safe in our beds because rough men stand ready in the night to visit violence on those who have done us harm. My oldest daughter gave me this, and she left me a note. Thank you, Daddy, for being that rough man. This is my mission. I can't express the humble honor I feel for receiving this award and opportunity to campaign and for the fight, because the mission is worth the fight. Thank you very much. And I'm very honored.
That was very well said, Captain. Thank you so much. Very great. Did you want to invite your wife up?
Kim, would you please come up?
Congratulations, Preston, on this well-deserved honor, and thank you for everything you do to improve flight security for our members. Will Captain Steve Gengelis please join me on stage to assist in tonight's Air Safety Award presentation. Now, I'm honored to present the 2016 ALPA Air Safety Award. This evening, I have the privilege of recognizing United Airlines Captain Charles Hogeman for his extraordinary contributions to air transportation safety. Captain Hogeman has held several senior positions within the association's air safety organization, including Aviation Safety Chair from 2011 to 2016 and Human Factors and Training Group Chair from 2007 to 2011. We particularly want to recognize him for his dedicated work with other air transportation stakeholders on aviation rulemaking committees, most notably the ARC that was formed to establish minimum First Officer Part 121 operations qualifications. This ARC led to the safer First Officer training, qualifications, and experience requirements that ALPA is fighting to protect this day. Captain Hogeman has distinguished himself as ALPA's representative to the Commercial Aviation Safety Team and as a member of the Aviation Safety Information Analysis and Sharing Executive Board. Captain Hogeman, would you please join me on stage? Hi, Chuck. A superlative professional and ALPA leader, it gives me great pleasure to present Captain Hogeman with the 2016 ALPA Air Safety Award. Congratulations and great job.
You know, I've attended a lot of these banquets over the years, and I've heard a lot of inspirational speeches. And we heard two tonight, Preston and Tony. So I feel like this is an out-of-body experience for me because I'm receiving this award. But the good news is I'm in front of a lot of great colleagues and a lot of great friends. I'm very grateful to receive this award, but honestly, this award is for all ALPA safety volunteers. Like many of you, I've had to respond to uninformed cynics that say, after all, ALPA is just a union. But ALPA is very unique. Its truly unique role in the airline industry is that it has both representational goals and a strong safety mandate. And some don't understand that. There's that old adage that there's no politics in safety. I've heard it no less than about 3,000 times in the last 6 years, as many as you have. And I agree with that notion, but at this point in my career, I would like to turn that around and say that safety, security, and pilot assistance is our politics. It's what's important to us. We'll never apologize to anyone for being a strong and unwavering voice in the air safety dialogue as we work collaboratively to identify threats, risks, and to develop solutions that keep the airspace safe. Doing our safety work is not a sprint. It is a marathon with no beginning and no end. It transgresses the changing politics of Washington and Ottawa, the changing leadership at the FAA and Transport Canada, and of course, the never-ending airline shuffle in airline managements. But we do it forcefully by advocating our opinions, while at the same time working hard to achieve consensus-based solutions with other stakeholders. It is a fine line. We seldom enjoy taking the proverbial 4-lane interstate to agreeable solutions. Often, we have to take side roads, back alleys, dirt roads, and sometimes we have to move forward where there are no roads. But not undertaking these long and arduous journeys can never be an option for us. ALPA can't always raise the safety bar by itself. But in doing this work, I realize the rest of the safety industry can't raise the bar without us. I've found that doing ALPA safety work requires two things: having the common sense to enable others to do their work. The second, being enabled to do your work. I can't possibly accept this award without acknowledging some of the folks who have enabled me over these many years. I'd like to start by thanking the national leadership. Captain Knoll, thank you very much for your leadership. Captain Joe DePete, thank you, sir. It was an honor to work with you these past couple of years, and thank you for your support. Captains Randy Helling and Bill Coet, thank you. And of course, ALPA Aviation Safety Chair, Captain Steve Gingelis. Steve, thank you for many years of support. Great working with you. Can't do this work without the support of your own MEC. And I couldn't have done any of this work without the support of the United Airlines MEC. I want to thank Master Chairman Todd Insler, Vice Chairman Captain Bob Fox, Central Air Safety Committee Chair Bob Zisk, the MEC officers, the committee chairs, my LEC officers, all of whom I've been very honored to work for. I am very proud to be a United pilot, and I am grateful for an MEC that has a strong commitment towards safety. Within the ALPA National Air Safety Organization, I've been privileged to direct the work of some of the greatest technical experts in safety, and I'd like to name just a few of them. Jeff Perrin, Rip Torn, Brian Lesko, Mike Shills, Brian Moynihan, Don DeBias, Kathy Hurst, Nick Seymour, Glenn Finch, Lee Genoy, Brian Burks, Dave McKinney, Helena Cunningham, Frank Bizonia, Jeff May, and my special friend, Captain Frank Cheesman. Frank, thank you for all the hard work you've done and your friendship. I've often said at many events and discussions that ALPA's Engineering and Air Safety Department is the crown jewel because they do help us get our foot in the door. And they get us into a lot of important safety venues. I'm very appreciative for all the teamwork that I've enjoyed over the past several years working with the men and women in that department. I want to thank Keith Hagee. Keith, thank you for your friendship and thanks for your all. Of course, I also want to thank Jerry Wright, Randy Carnegie, Chad Ballantyne, and Chris Baum for many years, and all my friends and colleagues in that department who worked tirelessly for our cause. To all the previous Safety, Security, and Pilot Assistance Award recipients who are here, I must tell you that I stand in your shadows for all your hard work and contributions as part of this association's 86-year legacy. In my 40 years of being a professional airline pilot, yeah, I said that, 40 years of being a professional airline pilot, I know personally I've benefited from the causes that you've championed that are still in play today, and I'm proudly humbled to be in your company. I'd like to close by thanking two of the most important people to me. My daughter Sarah, who is with us here tonight. And my son Stephen, who is camping with the Boy Scouts at the National Jamboree in West Virginia, couldn't join us. So, Sarah, as an airline pilot and safety volunteer, I know I've missed a lot of birthdays, holidays, swim meets, and school events. I hope that someday you and Stephen will understand why I wasn't always there and why I and many of the men and women in this audience do this work. It's because we deeply care about the airline industry, this profession, and we gratefully accept the trust and responsibility that comes with flying airliners and doing safety work. We're committed to making sure that when you and Stephen or anyone else steps onto an airliner or ships precious belongings by air, that you are assured that that airplane is being flown by the most well-trained, proficient, safety-conscious professional men and women in the safest mode of transportation in the world. 57,000 ALPA members press for that. Government and industry expect it. The traveling and shipping public demand it. I thank you. Can I invite Sarah up here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sarah?
So this does conclude the 2017 ALPA Air Safety Forum. Thank you all for being part of it. We have a post-banquet reception in the Columbian Foyer right out through these doors. Please enjoy the rest of your evening, celebrate, but most importantly, travel safely. Good night.